What's going on? Welcome to GameBytes, the show where I talk to the camera about gaming while I play some games. Just a disclaimer, I don't really know where the format of the show is going to wind up. Still trying to figure it out. I only really know two things is one, I really like talking about games and I don't really have an outlet for that. I don't really have anybody to talk about games to, so I'm going to talk about games to you guys and hope you all enjoy it. Number two is I watch a lot of gaming podcasts, and the one thing I think they really all lack is games. They all talk about games and they do a great job, but nobody really ever plays games on the podcast. It's a gaming podcast and nobody's playing games, so I thought I would change this up a little bit by playing some games while I talk. This won't be a podcast exactly, but it's kind of a similar format. I'm gonna kind of go off the cuff and talk about gaming and the industry and play some games. So yeah, let's get into it. So for this first episode today, I thought it would just kind of be cool to go over the big three players in the industry, where they're at, where I think they're going, and some cool things about what's going on right now. Of course, the big three being Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm playing Super Mario Galaxy today. Let's get into a level, do some Mario flips, and talk about the upcoming handheld apocalypse. Handhelds are taking over. Handhelds are everywhere. And I don't think that's changing. I don't think that's going to slow down anytime soon. I think handhelds really will play an even larger role in the gaming industry going forward. Of course, you know, the Switch, Nintendo announced today that while they won't be announcing any new hardware this year, they are at current lifetime sales of 125 million. They expect to sell 15 million more this year, which is going to put them around 140 million. You know, we've got Tears of the Kingdom coming out in just a few days. We know they've got to be working on a new Mario. They're working on Metroid Prime 4. They've got Pokemon DLC coming out. If they're smart, they're going to time Mario to come out around the time of a new system. And so just starting off with Nintendo in this whole thing, I think that there's a very good chance that the successor to the Switch could wind up being the best-selling console of all time. And let me tell you why. If they kind of stick with NVIDIA, they get a more powerful NVIDIA chip, something that's capable of doing DLSS 3. That jives kind of with Nintendo's whole thing where they don't really focus on making the most powerful hardware. They just kind of do their own thing. They don't really have to focus on making super powerful hardware. You know, the DLSS can do a lot of the heavy lifting, and that can enable them to get a lot more third-party support. A lot of the games they miss out on that go to a PS5 and Series X, they can start to get that, along with, you know, them consistently delivering super high-quality titles like, you know, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey. I can only imagine the next Mario is going to be amazing as well. If they can get more third parties on board and continue to release the caliber of games they have been releasing with more powerful hardware, you know, preferably for me, more ergonomic hardware. The Switch is a little bit small for my tastes, but you can alleviate that with things like the Split Pad Pro and the Pro controller, which is what I'm using now. You know, take this more powerful hardware, DLSS 3, more third-party support, and hopefully work on or fix a lot of their issues with their online infrastructure, just the whole way they view and interact with the online functionality on the Switch. If they can overhaul that and improve that, I think there's a very good chance that they make, you know, 140 million by this time next year. That's already coming up on the DS and the PS2 for the best selling of all time. So I don't think it's crazy to assume that the successor to the Switch could surpass that in some meaningful way. To zoom out a little bit and just talk about handhelds in general, man, handhelds I think are going to play a huge role in the industry moving forward. I mean, we already see, of course, the Switch killing it, but the Steam Deck coming in and showing that there is a spot in the market for other players. People really do want more handhelds. And we see like the Asus ROG Ally coming in and, you know, doing the Windows handheld thing, which other companies have did. AO Neo and GPD Win 4, I think, is one of them. And, you know, other companies have done it. And Windows handhelds always have kind of this funkiness to them where Windows doesn't quite work as well on a handheld. And, you know, Valve worked really hard to get SteamOS and Linux on the Steam Deck to a spot where it's just kind of seamless. So they did a lot of work there on the OS side to kind of make it work. You know, I think Asus, you know, with some of the stuff they're doing could really make a Windows handheld work, at least the best that it's worked thus far. And, you know, just really show that more powerful handhelds like that is something great. And you know, their docking system is something I'm really looking forward to trying out, where you can have the handheld as it is, have your GPU based docking station that you can dock it into, get that little extra boost of power to push these games onto your 4K TV with decent performance. I think, you know, it just goes to show that people really want handhelds. And you know, in the end, if I can take my games with me, you know, play them in bed, play them on the toilet, play them at the doctor's office, wherever. If I can take my games with me and then come home and play them on the TV and not really sacrifice that much in the end, ooh, why wouldn't I do that? Like, well, why would you choose not to do that? I mean, I don't think that handhelds are going to eclipse dedicated consoles anytime soon, but I think they're going to play a more predominant role in the industry than they ever have before. You know, Nintendo kind of kicked off this whole thing, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. And then, you know, there's the elephant in the room of the rumored Sony handheld, the Q Lite. I wonder if Q Lite, if there's going to be a Q and a Q Lite. Q Lite being the cheaper remote play only version, and the main Q being this full featured handheld. You know, I don't think a remote play only handheld makes much sense. I mean, yeah, as a companion for the PS5, maybe, but I don't think Sony really wants another just like really niche hardware, you know, like they've had with the VR2. Doesn't really jive well with their whole motto of, you know, kind of everything they do. It's big, it's AAA, it's blockbuster. I don't see them wanting to go into niche, small, AA hardware market, if you will. And plus, they already kind of have like a remote play device with like their Xperia phones. You know, they could really just hammer home the remote play functionality of the Xperia if that's all they wanted to do in the end. You know, I think maybe, you know, the rumors have just only got one facet of this device nailed down, and that the Q series is actually going to be a bit more than what we think it is. Which, you know, if it is, you know, again, if I can play my PlayStation games on the go and then come back and then, you know, sync it up with my PS5 at home, you know, not really have the hybrid functionality of the Switch, but yet you still do have the kind of that best of both worlds functionality, where you have the ability to play on the go and then the ability to come home and play on the TV and get that full experience. I think that's something that could be really special for Sony, and it just keeps showing that handhelds are going to play a huge role in the industry going forward. You know, you even see Microsoft stepping into there with, you know, their involvement with the ROG Ally and the Logitech G Cloud. You know, they went out of their way to make xCloud available on the Steam Deck, and it's on that new Razer device that uses the Kishi, what's it, the Razer Edge. Microsoft is kind of going a different route, where they're partnering up with other companies to provide that Xbox experience on handhelds, but they see it going forward. It honestly makes perfect sense for each respective person. You know, Nintendo's got like this hybrid system where they merge their portable and their console division, and all their first party software that really carries their hardware is really unified and working for them. Sony having this device that really works with their ecosystem that's kind of more closed off in a way, but it's just more tightly connected to that PlayStation ecosystem, to the way they do things, more controlled by them and more aligned with their first party releases and what they can do. And then Microsoft kind of doing what they do with making everything open, where, oh yeah, you can use Xbox on the ROG or on the G Cloud or on your phone or on your PC or on your Xbox. They're all approaching handhelds in their own unique way. But the point is that they all three have an approach to handhelds now, which is not something that we've seen in the past. And I think that's just a very telling sign that handhelds are not only here to stay, but are going to be a predominant force in the industry going forward. Moving on, you know, we had the issue with redfall. You know, first it was 30 frames, and I had a short that I published recently that kind of summarized my view on that. I don't think 30 frames is the end game that a lot of people do. You know, it was certainly not the worst of redfall's issues. 30 frames to me, when done properly, is not a deal breaker. It's obviously it's not optimal. Of course, you want higher frames when possible. You know, you want them to push the frame rate as high as they can without sacrificing image quality or game functionality. But 30 frames when paced properly with good control tuning and input lag and all that, it actually isn't too bad. You can look at Ghostwire Tokyo, which is 120 frames versus something like Destiny on last generation systems that was 30 frames, and Destiny played great, and Ghostwire Tokyo on consoles doesn't feel so great. So I think they've did some work on it recently to kind of tune that up, make it a bit better, but at launch, you know, even at 120 frames, Ghostwire Tokyo was just rough to play on console. Anyway, I digress. Redfall launched, and it just wasn't great, and it's a rough situation for Xbox. You know, I don't think it's as dire of a situation as a lot of people do. You know, in the end, Xbox does have a lot of great studios. They have a lot of games coming out that are going to be great. They got the showcase coming up next month. Starfield should be good. I mean, yeah, there's a world where Starfield launches and it doesn't hit, and that would be super unfortunate. It would just continue to lead down this road where people are rapidly losing faith in Microsoft to deliver quality gaming experiences. But as of right now, you know, I think that they're still fine. They're still on track to, you know, be the best version of Xbox that we've seen in a long time. Redfall was just an unfortunate setback. And, you know, I know Phil recently on the Kinda Funny interview committed to fixing Redfall and making it better, but honestly, I don't know if that's the move. Obviously, they want to iron out all the bugs and get it to a playable state. But as much as I would love to see them, I love looter shooters, and I love you know, Destiny, and looter shooters just have a special place in my heart. I love collecting exotic weapons and building my character up and hopping in with friends. So I personally would love to see them pull a Final Fantasy XIV with Redfall and, you know, just bring out this epic new version that fixes everything and adds to it, makes it great, makes it what we know Arcane can deliver, because we know Arcane is a special studio that absolutely can deliver these phenomenal experiences, special experiences that you really don't find in any other studio. We know Arcane can do that, so it would be great to see them do that with Redfall, but I don't know if that's the smartest use of their time when they could be helping Arcane Lyon with their next project, or just kind of working on their own and coming up with Arcane Austin's next project. Bethesda lets Arcane Austin go back and try something else, sequel to Prey, what have you. But I think that much as I would like them to work on Redfall and getting that better, the brain says that that's not a smart allocation of resources for Microsoft or Xbox. I don't think they should put the money out for them to do this. The Redfall name and the game is kind of already in a soured spot. It's left a bad taste in players' mouths. Final Fantasy XIV was a special case where it was a storied franchise. Players were willing to give that another shot, and it was an MMO. I don't think, you know, Ubisoft has had some luck with certain games kind of breathing life back into them after they've launched, but overall, I just don't think it's worth it for Microsoft to attempt that with Redfall. Cut your losses, get it to a playable state, cut your losses, and move on. On the other end, you know, we've got the showcase coming up next month, and, you know, it's exciting. Microsoft has a lot of good games in the works. They've got a lot of stuff on the way that really should be good. Avowed from Obsidian should be great. Hopefully Playground knocks it out of the park with Fable. Perfect Dark I'm more iffy on, but Everwild, I love Sea of Thieves. Rare's a great developer. Everwild could be really great. Hellblade wasn't really my thing, but for people really like that game, and Hellblade 2 seems to be in a great spot. It certainly looks great. You know, we've got Outer Worlds 2. We've got, of course, Starfield on the way. You know, they've got a lot of stuff they're working on over there that really could start to pop up. But what Xbox really needs to do at this point, they are in a position where they have to start delivering. People are rapidly losing faith in the Xbox brand to deliver quality games. A lot of people are just thinking that Xbox isn't a place that you go if you really want consistent quality. If you want quality AAA releases like what something like PlayStation does time and time again. Now, Xbox is always going to kind of do smaller games like Hi-Fi Rush peppered in between, but if you want consistent quality titles, whether they be small or big, you know, they really have to hammer home the fact that Xbox is most definitely a place you can go for that. Right now, a lot of players just don't believe that. I love Xbox, and honestly, I'm kind of doubting if they can pull this off. It seems like they have some management issues they really got to work through, and hopefully they do that. I have confidence in them so as of now that they can do that, and I don't think it's dire straits, but it's certainly on the way to being dire straits. So they definitely have to let players know that they can deliver games. And, you know, I know Phil was kind of in some hot water with his interview with Kinda Funny because of his comment about if Starfield was an 11 out of 10, it wouldn't sell consoles. And I think that was kind of taken out of context, as is a lot of things on social media. You know, I agree with him in a lot of ways, where if Starfield comes out and it's an 11 out of 10, it's not going to make people sell their PS5 and buy an Xbox. Definitely not to the point where it's going to make Xbox pull out of third place and suddenly they're going to pass PlayStation 5 in sales. I think that train has left the station for this generation. PlayStation, you know, they don't even have anything announced right now, and they are still killing it. They have Spider-Man 2 announced, and Final Fantasy 16 is coming up very soon, but outside of that, they don't really have anything announced at all. And people just, they have so much goodwill with players that players are just like, yeah, we 100% trust you to deliver. And you know, it's worked for them, and they're selling more consoles than ever before. So it's wild to see, and I don't think Xbox is in a position, even if Redfall were to hit, where they could top that. That's just not something that's going to happen right now. What it can do and what it can lead to is players starting to build that trust, where they could, you know, start saying, hey, Xbox is a place where we can look for quality content. And what Xbox really has to do going forward is just consistently deliver those games. If they consistently deliver quality games, over time players will start to trust Xbox again, and trust that Xbox most definitely can deliver those experiences. Yeah, you know, then we can come back later down the road and, you know, see when players do have that confidence built up in the Xbox brand, then maybe they can start, you know, catching up to Sony and Nintendo as far as being that first party juggernaut. But just Starfield by itself, no, it's not going to move the needle. And I know people don't want to hear that, especially Xbox fans. I don't like hearing it, but it is what it is. Starfield being an 11 out of 10 isn't going to make people sell their PS5s. And even if a few people do, it's not going to move it to the point where Xbox Series X and S is suddenly surpassing PS5 in worldwide sales. That's not going to happen. Years down the road, after they've released, you know, if Avowed comes out and it hits, and Everwild comes out and it hits, and Perfect Dark comes out and it hits, and they fix what's going on with Halo and 343, that comes out and it hits, and they've got all these games that are coming out, like what Sony had during the end of the PS3 and the PS4 generation, where game after game was coming out and it was hitting. If they do that for a generation and they can continue to follow through with that, then yeah, eventually they're going to build enough goodwill where gamers are like, I have to have an Xbox, whether it's on PC, cloud, it's the ROG Ally, it's the Steam Deck, wherever it is, they're going to be like, I have to play Xbox games. I cannot miss this next Xbox release. And that's where they want to be. But it's going to take a while to get there. So I understand what Phil was saying. It's kind of where Xbox is at. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to see this showcase. And yeah. Moving on to PlayStation. I know we talked a little bit about the cute handheld earlier. Am I going to regret falling down here? You know, moving on to PlayStation. As I said a little bit ago, they're in this crazy spot where they don't have much announced at all. Oh crap. You know, we know a couple of things are gonna be happening. Spider-Man 2, we know Wolverine's a thing, and Final Fantasy 16, and beyond that, we don't know very much at all about what Sony's up to. Oh, I need my power up. Okay. And they're still selling PlayStation 5s like no tomorrow, just based off of the goodwill that players have with them, that they know that I'm gonna buy this PS5 and it's gonna pay off eventually, whether they announce the games tomorrow or a couple months from now. They know that they're gonna get their money's worth, and that's crazy that Sony's in that spot where they're selling more consoles than ever just based on good faith. I think that affords them a lot of leeway with what they can do with this showcase that Jeff Grubb has, you know, mentioned that's happening later this month at the end of May. I think maybe May 25th, the week of May 25th. You know, Jeff Grubb's reliable. I think that's been corroborated by Insider Gaming maybe. Anyway. They're going to have a PlayStation showcase come up soon, and, you know, they're in this crazy spot where, you know, they can kind of do whatever they want to do here. I mean, of course, they're going to announce great games, I'm sure. We're going to see some really surprising things. You know, they've got the Metal Gear that was just rumored, Metal Gear remakes, the Silent Hill remakes, and Castlevania remakes. You know, I think there's a rumored Twisted Metal. A lot of rumors going around, honestly, but, you know, they can kind of do what they want to do, and no matter what, players are probably going to be pretty happy. It's a crazy spot for them, and it's really exciting to see, because this is when they can really go for it. This is when they can really do some awesome stuff. You know, what's Sucker Punch working on? What's Blue Point working on? What are these new live service games they're talking about? What are those? Haven and Firewalk. The Firewalk or Fire Sprite? Or both? Like, what are they working on? What's Bungie's rumored next game? We've got the rumored Horizon multiplayer game. We've got Last of Us Factions. They've got so much that they can show off, and all of it's going to be great. It's all going to be awesome to see. And it's super exciting, the position that Sony's in as just a fan of the industry. You know, while I'm here, oh my god, dude, can we not do this? No. That's something I wanted to bring up just about this channel, about the show, about what I'm trying to do here. I don't want fanboy nonsense. You know, I like every game system. I love Nintendo. I love Xbox. I love PlayStation. I enjoy it all. And it's fun sometimes to pick on each other and jab back and forth, and that can be entertaining, and I can enjoy that. I don't want this to be one of those super vitriolic, hateful fanboy places or console warrior places. That's not my thing. That's not my bag. It's not something I really want to get into. Thank you for not knocking me off. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. That's really not what I want here. Whew, got him. Nice. So yeah, I just wanted to go over that. No console wars, no fanboy nonsense. Let's just enjoy games, talk about games, and have fun doing it. That being said, I would love to have somebody to talk to on here about games. So if you know of anyone, or you yourself think that you'd be interested in coming on and just chatting about games and having fun and where the industry's at and what's coming and what you like to play, I'm welcome to have anybody on and talk about it. That'd be super fun. I wouldn't have to carry the conversation entirely by myself. Obviously, I'm new at this, so hope I've been doing a decent job. Hope it's at least moderately entertaining. I'm going back to Gusty Garden. That was a little easier. So yeah, but yeah, you know, Sony's in this awesome spot, and I'm super excited to see what this showcase. This really could be like PS5. I want to say PS5 2.0. I mean, they do have rumored hardware coming beyond the Q-Lite, the rumored you know, removable disk tray model, and a rumored PS5 Pro, which I view that with a grain of salt right now. The disk tray model, you know, they always do revisions, so that's definitely plausible. And the Pro is plausible, but I don't know. We've just now got to the point where PS5s are readily available, so I'm honestly not sure if they would want to do a Pro right now. Anyway, yeah, this really could be the showcase that's like, yeah, this is PlayStation, you know, the second chapter. This is, you know, season 2 of PlayStation 5 and everything it means to be a PlayStation gamer in this generation. And it's cool to see. It's cool to see Sony be in that position. It's fun, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for us and what they're going to show off. Yeah, honestly, I think that's about all I had. So, I mean, we went over Nintendo and how, you know, they're leading the charge on this new dominance that handhelds have. You know, things like the Steam Deck here came out and killed it as well. For far as I know, it's doing really well for Valve, and they don't have to sell that many copies because every copy they sell, people are just going to turn around and buy stuff on Steam, and that's all they really need. Yeah, Nintendo's leading this charge on this, you know, handheld dominance that we're seeing, this crazy generation of handhelds that's push towards, you know, a huge place in the industry for handhelds going forward. We're inevitably going to get a successor to the Switch within the next year or two. Not this year, but, you know, maybe an announcement this year, or at least sometime later on in 2024. That's another thing I did want to say about the successor to the Switch. If they can do a more graceful job of carrying over our current games from the Switch to the Switch successor, and, you know, kind of patch or make it where a lot of these games benefit from the new hardware, that would be great. You know, being able to play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, all these games on better hardware, higher resolutions, better frame rates, more stability, that would be great, and that'd be something I'd love to see Nintendo do. But either way, yeah, just, you know, getting these games to look better, to run better, that's going to be awesome. Hopefully Nintendo does some stuff with DLSS. Hopefully they get more third parties, they fix their online functionality, and if they can kind of tackle some of those issues, I think they're going to kill it again in next generation. I don't think we're going to see another Wii U. I think Nintendo learned their lesson with the Wii U, and they learned what works with the Switch, and they're going to knock it out of the park. That's just what I think. And then Xbox is having issues, but, you know, I think they're going to do great going forward. And, yeah, I see no reason why they're not going to do great going forward as long as they can figure out a few things. You know, Sony's just Sonying it up right now. You know, it's a great time to be a PlayStation gamer. They're killing it. I didn't talk about PC games. I love PC gaming. I play PC a lot. But for this discussion, I just wanted to start off by talking about the 3 main consoles, kind of where we're at, because, you know, in the end they do lead the charge when it comes to a lot of the discussion around the industry. So yeah, that's about all I got to say. Let me knock out this other mole. Again, this format's going to change. I'm going to try to improve it. I'm going to hone it over time. I'm going to try to make it better and better as time goes. But if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe for the next episode, GameBytes episode 2. I'm going to try to get these out at least once a week. And yeah, thanks for watching and have a good one.